Who here has familiarity with LRBAA in the past? Okay, all right. Looks like about a third of the folks. That's good. So many of you may know then, the LRBAA has been around since 2009 at S&T, and I think it's really a nice way for us to be able, like the Chief of Staff said, we really want to make sure that we're able to capture the great ideas that innovators, entrepreneurs, and people in the R&D space can come up with. And it's to everybody's benefit for us to make sure we're pursuing things that can help us secure the homeland. We made a couple of tweaks to the newest release of the LRBAA. It's 52 pages right now with, I think 20 of that is topics. So I'm sure you all will find time, if you haven't already, to read through those 52 pages. But one of the changes that we made is how the topics are broken out. We decided, originally the last LRBA was structured based on the program areas within S&T, and then those changed halfway through the LRBAA. So we were trying to say, okay, well, we still have to align them to that because that's the way it's all based. So we just said, okay, you know what, let's just go to the 6 mission areas for DHS, because those should be fairly consistent. So we aligned them to these 6 mission areas. There are 23 topics out there right now, and the LRBAA is different than a traditional BAA because those traditionally come out and say, we have this specific challenge, and they leave open the ability for you to approach that or provide the solution for that particular problem that you have the idea for. For the LRBAA, we go out with an area, a topic area. So there's 23 topic areas, and we're not defining a specific challenge under those areas. So it gives you a little bit more freedom to be able to propose a solution for something that we might have even thought, okay, well, let's pursue something right here. It does mean a lot of times I will get folks coming up and say, hey, how do I talk to somebody about what they want in this topic area? And that's not the LRBAA. The LRBAA is, what do you have? So you find out by submitting something to the LRBAA if this is something that we're looking for. There's flexibility both in terms of the period for when you can submit topics. There's flexibility in terms of how you can submit, like what kind of a topic, what kind of solution you can submit, and flexibility for who can submit. We will update the topics on an annual basis. It's not exactly the same date every year, but it's something you can keep a lookout for. Know, okay, it's been a while since I checked it out. Let me go out and see if there's anything else. We can take down topics. We don't traditionally do that. The goal is when we put a topic out there, we're intending for it to be out there for a year. The one last thing I want to mention as kind of broadly that we get, it's a popular question, is what's the funding limit? So obviously there's limits, but there's no specific limit for the LRBAA. What we need to do is think about this in terms of, if you had a solution that you wanted to propose to develop a technology or some sort of thing, how much would that cost to develop? That's the limit. We're not going to pay more for it than we should. We're, make sure we pay attention to spending taxpayer dollars wisely, and we have to prioritize that across the board. We don't have topics out there unless there is a potential bucket of funding that could be used towards something that came in that we were interested in. That said, things change. And sometimes if something comes in that is very unique and looks attractive, we might decide, oh, you know what, let's see if we can find something, we may not have quite enough. Let's see if we can find some funding for it. But if you're aggressive in your funding assessment, it can have an impact on whether it's recommended to the board. So the announcement is on sam.gov. And obviously, we want to make sure that everybody understands, like I said, those 52 pages are sam.gov, and this will tell you everything about the requirements for the LRBAA and the process. We're going to talk about it here and kind of give you the highlights, but as Tisha said, nothing we talk about here supersedes what is on sam.gov. Okay, so I touched on it a little bit, but eligibility. So the LRBAA is purposely kept broad, and we want to make sure that we're giving that broadest opportunity. There isn't a set aside or preference that's provided for HBCUs, MSIs, small business, disadvantaged. But I will tell you that there are a good number, and Steve pulled the metrics for me, and I forget what it is off the top of my head, but it was a good number of folks that had proposed, and that was the first time they ever got an award with DHS, was through the LRBAA. So sometimes there's this misconception that we're just looking to go out and partner with people that we've already partnered with, or, you know, we already know what we're looking for. And I want to very, very emphatically state that is not the case. We are looking for new ideas, and new players are often the key to getting those new ideas. This is all the language. I'm not going to read it. This is cut and paste from the announcement. All right. So what can be done with the LRBAA? So we have the 23 topics out there. Those 23 topics are eligible to receive submissions for type 1, type 2, or type 3 efforts. So it includes project activities that focus on gaps or needs that have been identified by DHS components, enduring research that results in better, more actionable data sets, knowledge product standards, and peer-reviewed publications. I'm not going to read it all. Exploring solutions to problems presented by emerging science and technology areas. This is R&D. So to be clear, this is not for support type services. If you have a facility and you're like, hey, we can do testing for these types of sensors, you know, you just tell us which sensors you want to test and we'll do it. No, that is not what we're doing. You need to be able to come forward and say, here's our idea, here's how we would go about developing it, and here is the expected outcome at the end that would be the deliverable or the product that would be able to be pursued by this effort. So we can do R&D, and we can do types of agreements across the board. We can do grants, cooperative agreements, other transaction agreements. That's not going to be, it's not going to be necessarily dictated by, you'll choose, okay, we want to do this. It should be something that is determined by what is appropriate for what is proposed. All right. So here's the 23 topics. There they are. I'm not going to read those. But so we do have a QR code. I will say that the portal does have additional details on it for each of these topics. So go out and look at the solicit or the announcement, and determine, hey, I'm eligible. Hey, I think I can do this. Here's a topic I'm interested in, and then go to the portal. And I kind of touched on this already, but so these are spelled out in the announcement. We will not pursue support services, inclusive of contracting type services, evaluation of other contractors' performance or program. So you're coming in and you're doing something that is yours. Research consortia, association, partnership, or combination as a business or investors for the purpose of engaging in joint research and development venture in general area. The reason for this one is essentially what that does is often we will get proposals that say, hey, we're gonna all get together and figure out what it is that is the best approach. Well, you need to do that and then submit for whatever you've determined is the best approach. And as we said, we're not pursuing commercial products under the LRBAA, so we're looking to do R&D. We're doing R&D in case anybody's missed it so far. It's research and development. Oh, I didn't put that one on the acronyms page. All right. So this is high level the process. We're going to get into it in more detail when Steve joins for the walkthrough in the portal. But basically it's a 3-step process, and it starts with an industry engagement step. This is purposely structured to be a light lift for both you and for us. We know that these are broad topics. We know people say, hey, what are you looking for under there? We don't want to have you go jump all the way into some big long paper and then find out, okay, we either don't have funding for this, so it's not something we can pursue, or we're pursuing this another way, or it's just not a good fit for what we want to do for whatever reason. So it's going to be a 3-page abstract and a quad chart and an optional short video. And as long as there is a topic open on the LRBAA, you can submit that industry engagement. If you see a topic and then it closes, it is no longer eligible for that submission. So you don't have to hurry, but at the same time, you don't want to, dawdle too long, because they can be taken down at any time. If your submission is something that we think is attractive and we want to try to pursue that, you will be recommended for a virtual pitch. This is a structured process where you'll be given time to talk about what it is that you're proposing. So this gives the ability to kind of detail those nuances that are a lot of times are harder to write out. But I used to, in college, I'd have to go to somebody and say, I want to try to say this, and I could just say it, but I couldn't type it. So sometimes that's an easier way to communicate for folks. So the virtual pitch is just that opportunity for engagement in that way. And then if that all looks great, then we would do a recommendation for a written proposal. The written proposal is the whole shebang. So it is going to be absolutely, everything you need to put in for a proposal for the other types of BAAs. So you're going to have to make sure you're prepared for that if you get asked. When we go to the written proposal stage, it is not a lock. It does not mean we are absolutely going to be recommending it for award. But we have a better idea that it is something that we'd like to pursue. And this is where I talked about that funding in the beginning. You'll be asked for a ROM at the beginning, and that can play a part in whether it's recommended to go forward. It should, right? If you underestimate that ROM or overestimate that ROM, that could work against you. And I don't mean it like we're going to penalize you, but it just is the fact. If you underestimate, well, by the time we get to the written proposal, it may be, oh, well, we could have done this for basically what we thought it was at the beginning, but now it's more. So please don't underestimate it just to get it through, and do not overestimate to say, okay, well, I'm gonna cover myself. Make sure you've done some due diligence there, because we don't want to not pursue a recommendation because like, oh, well, that'd be really interesting and something we may be interested in, but at that price point, it's not something that is feasible. So it's important that you're making sure that you're giving that a good amount of thought as you go through the process, even though it's light lift. All right, so we do have some resources. We have an Insights outreach. Now, Steve did inform me, because Steve is the detail guy, that this is based on the old 1801 announcement, but it does have some more fundamental information about the program in general. So it's something you can check out. And then we also do LRBAA Today webinar series. So what we do with this is we get, similar to what we're going to do today with our topic talks, is we will get somebody that's knowledgeable in the area of one of the topics and come out and say, here's what's going on in this area, here's what our scope is, and here's some of the current challenges. And it's called LRBAA Today because obviously those challenges may be met another way, but it's a way to hear, okay, what is going on in this particular area right now today with DHS. So there are some up there. We've been doing that for 4 years. See, 3 years. The detail guy. So there are some that are out there for topics that still exist on the LRBAA, the one that we have now. I still think it can be valuable because we often ask them to give some background and some resources to learn more about what's happened in this area and what our challenges are. Also, so I told you we have to update them annually, and we did this event. How do you make sure the next time we do this fabulous event, you're here? We recommend you join our mailing list. I promise we don't spam. We try to make sure that what we send out is limited in terms of, we're not going to be sending everything out all the time, but we also want to make sure we can keep you guys up to date on everything that we're trying to do and updates to the LRBAA. And so yes, the website for the URL for the portal, it's it's tricky. It's baa.dhs.gov. So probably easy one to remember. Even I can remember it. So, all right. I'm trying to think if I've missed any of the key points. Steve says no. Steve's the detail guy, so clearly that I'm good.